Sometimes you'll be out here for an hour and not see another human being. It can be extremely quiet. It's just you and the battlefield, and there's nothing else quite like that. I'll be amazed at just how quickly time goes by. I'll be up before dawn, and the next thing you know, I'm running out of time because the light is starting to go away. There's something really fascinating about Gettysburg. Anybody who likes the Civil War or is interested in the struggle and the trauma of the battlefield knows that Gettysburg was one of the most important places in the Civil War. So to be out here, to be making pictures, to be able to spend, basically just concentrate my entire day on making photographs for 4 weeks straight has just been extraordinary. One of my favorite times to be out on the battlefield is before dawn or right after dawn, depending on where you are on the field, what time of year it is. It's great for photography because you don't have a lot of intrusions, there's no tour buses coming through, but it can really take you back to 1863 when it's just you out there working alone. You know, there might be mist on the field, there might be this gorgeous sun coming through, it could be after dark as well. At night, the park is open until about 10 p.m. most of the year, so you can work out here after dark, and that's another usually quiet time when things can really take on a different feel, where you can be, if you use your imagination enough, you can be transported back to 1863. Well, I've been photographing the battlefield of Gettysburg for probably about 2 decades, and it's been something that I've been interested in doing going back to the mid-90s. People ask me a lot why I'm so interested in photographing at Gettysburg, and sometimes it's hard to even put down into words. It's a very beautiful place. It's also a place of just total carnage and waste and destruction and death. Though there's a weird dichotomy. I do digital work, I do film work with medium format, black and white film. I also do large format 4x5 and 8x10 film, and I've been playing around with some paper negatives. I'm trying to use all kinds of different techniques to really maximize my time here. It's totally different from what I might do in my day-to-day work of being a photojournalist, where I can maybe go to a football game and shoot 2,000 pictures, no problem. This is heavy gear. It's gear that makes you think about what you want to do when you go out to take the picture. With the large format gear, it's a slowed down process. And a lot of people who shoot large format talk about that process of being very slow, being very deliberate, and the results they get in terms of the thought that they put into the picture, because they're basically making so few frames compared to how you might shoot digitally that everyone counts. You don't just pop off 10 or 15 frames when you shoot large format. You consider every single aspect that goes into the picture. You try to understand how the film is going to be processed, and how, if you're printing that film, how the film will then transfer to a print. You have to have an understanding of the light, and the light may change during the exposure. You try to compensate for that. We're very fortunate that the Park Service put in a sink. There's actually a good concrete floor of the basement that I call my dark room. It's amazing. I like to hang my apron up on a rail spike that farmer might have put in 100 years ago, might have been 160 years ago. And to think about what life was like back then in this house, which has been a fixture on the battlefield for more than 160 years. The history is all around, and you can look up at the beams and see that they were cut by hand. You can, realize that you're now standing on a dug down cellar floor that, 150 years ago didn't exist at the time. It was only basically a 5-foot ceiling. It was a root cellar, perhaps. I use old techniques, but I'm trying to give an updated sort of view of the battlefield. A large part of what I want to do is tell the story through pictures. We can't be transported back to 1863, but sometimes, if you do it right, the mood of the pictures brings you some kind of a sense of what was going on then. So what I try to do is look at it from the aspect of what occurred here and try to show some evidence of what's happened, and also of how the men who fought here returned and marked their positions with monuments, or how the rows of cannons that are out here show exactly where the fighting took place.